So we're on Isle Martin, which is now a community-owned island. When I first came here 33 years ago, it was owned by the RSPB, and then they handed it over to the community in '99. Before that, there hadn't been anyone really living here permanently for many years, but at one point there were about 100 people living here. It's had a whole history of things happening here on the island. It's quite rich historically, but for me the most interesting thing is the woodland regeneration and the soil building that has happened since all the livestock were removed over 30 years ago. There aren't any deer on the island. There were rabbits for many years. They were introduced in the 50s, and there now aren't any rabbits. So it's quite unique in that there is no grazing pressure here at all. So when I first came to the island, there were scarcely any trees here at all. There was like an old birch up on the cliff and a few small rowan on the north cliff, but that was it. So we just started planting, and now there is birch, woodland, there's oak, hazel, ash, holly, there's about 30 different native trees and shrubs here, all building the soil and providing habitat and firewood for anyone who's here. I saw a tree creeper on one of the trees the other day. There were hardly any birds except a few ground nesting birds, the odd meadow pipit and skylark, and now there's all the tree woodland species, so wood warbler, willow warbler, tree creepers, just much more rich and diverse. I would suggest that we take a wander through the woods and see what little trees that we can find. What this was like was just rushes and coarse grass, and it really didn't look as if anything could grow here. And now we're walking through this sheltered woodland with gean, wild cherry, bird cherry, willow, holly. I'm gobsmacked. I get a thrill every time I walk through here because you just know it's the right thing to do to plant trees. You just know it is. But you kind of don't really picture being able to walk under them and for your children to walk under them. This is one of the first trees that we planted, and it's a Downy Birch, which is the native birch here. And we actually even have to plant Downy Birches, often in places they're considered a weed. And this was before, about 33 years ago, it was before the invention of tree tubes, plastic tubes, any of these sort of modern guards. So we had to make all our own guards from rabbit netting, cutting them up and burying them at ground level because the pressure of the rabbits was so intense that they would just eat every single thing. So this tree is now setting seed very readily. And we can go around taking the guards off now because there are now no longer any rabbits on the island. We used plastic tree tubes as they developed to stop then rabbits eating the trees. So they're just short tubes, and they were specially designed with a rolled top which stops the edge of the tube cutting into the tree here. And then they've got cable ties which you'd fasten really tight around your stake. These are nice chestnut stakes, still got some strength in them, but you don't put the cable tie around the tube. So this needs to be removed because there's no grazing here anymore, and before it grows into the tree, this tree is small enough that we can just slip it up over the top. But these tubes are actually designed to split naturally, but you still end up with a heap of plastic that then disintegrates into the environment. So I choose not to use tree tubes anymore. When I see land that doesn't have trees, even growing land, like the agricultural land, if there aren't trees around, I just feel that there's something missing, there's a layer missing. And so seeing the trees grow here, it just feels like there's a real healing taking place. Now that there's the woodland here, the island has, has got a greater capacity for, other things to happen on the island. We could just bit by bit reintroduce a grazing animal which could help keep some of the grassland down, which improves it for, say, the resident population of grey-lag geese, which like short grass, and certain species, actually like short grass. There's now firewood on the island. There's now materials for crafts and for even timber for buildings, for rebuilding some of the old croft houses in their authentic way. I think nothing better you can do than plant trees. You just know that it's going to be beneficial to somebody sometime, and it's certainly good for the planet. It's good for the soil, it's good for wildlife. And you just know, you can phantom, even if you don't have your own piece of land, you can phantom plant a tree. You can just take it out somewhere where you know it's not going to get eaten or chopped down, or it's not going to get in somebody's way, and just go out and plant it on a little cliff, along a roadside, and you just know that that tree is growing away and growing away. It's fixing carbon and it's growing away. It might be set fruit for somebody someday. If you can do fruiting trees, all the better. Somebody can come along and eat the fruit. But whatever you do, plant trees.